In this video, we are going to discuss lessons extension to quadratic equations. So the first lesson on this chapter is all about equations transformable to quadratic equations. Okay, so there are equations that when you look at it at first, it seems that they are not quadratic equation. We know that what we've learned so far, that quadratic equation is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a, b, c are constants such that a is not equals to 0. But many problems, okay, majority of problems in engineering, in physics, in, let us say, in computer science, problems don't come in this form, but they come in many forms. But when you try to transform them, when you say transform, rewrite them, they can still be expressed as a quadratic equation. Okay, so let's start with number 1. So here we have x over 2 equals 4 over x minus 1. So this one is, at a first glance, it's not a quadratic equation, but we can rewrite it, we can transform it to a quadratic equation. So what do we do first is we find first the LCD. Okay, we find first the LCD. Okay, or number 1, we factorize the denominator. So that's number 1, factor the denominator, if possible, but in this case 2 and x are our denominators, and there's no need to factor them. Okay, so we proceed with the number 2, find the LCD. So 2 and x, the LCD is actually 2x. So after that, we multiply the LCD throughout the terms. Okay, how many terms do we have? We have 3 terms. X over 2 is our first term, 4 over x is the next term, then minus 1 is also the last term. So each of those terms we will multiply the 2x to make it more understandable. So we have 2x times the first term, okay, then equals 2x times four x minus then another 2x times 1. So this one, we are trying to multiply each term by the denominator, by the LCD, because we want to remove the denominators. Okay, so by division, this becomes cancelled out, so we are left with x times x. This portion becomes x squared, then this one also cancelled out, then we are left with 8, 2 times 4, then here we are left with 2x times 1, 2x. So in this case, we are going to write it in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So by how? We have, let's subtract 8 and let's add 2x on both sides. So let's subtract 8 here, then add 2x. Okay, so in turn we will have x squared. Let's start for 2x for abx, for bx, it likes the bx, then minus 8 equals 0. So this is now in quadratic form. Okay, so x squared plus 2x minus 8 is now a quadratic equation. So in this case, we can now solve it using the methods, any methods we learned from the chapter 1. Okay, we know that we can solve a quadratic equation using extracting the square root. We can solve a quadratic equation by factorization. We can solve a quadratic equation by completing the square, and the last one is the quadratic formula. So since I think this one is factorable, so we can factor this as x plus 4 x minus 2 equals 0. Okay, So if you're going to solve it, you have x equals negative 4 or x equals positive 2 for that and for that. Therefore, this is our solution set, okay, for this equation. Okay, then let's proceed with the number 2. So number 2, again, we factorize the denominators. We cannot anymore factor x plus 1, that's it. And x we cannot factor anymore. So we go back to we directly jump to our finding LCD. So x and x plus 1, the LCD is x and x plus 1 because they are totally different. Okay. So we will multiply each term by our LCD, which is x and x plus 1. So we have x plus 1 times 12 x plus 1 minus x times x plus 1 times 12 over x. Then we have 1 times x plus 1. So in this case, we'll by division, this becomes 1, so we are left with 12x. Okay. Here we are left with minus, we are left with minus 12 times x plus 1. Then here we have x times x plus 1. So we can simply distribute this. Okay. Then we can, this becomes 0. I think that becomes 0. So we are left with negative 12 and x squared plus x. It should be x here, sorry. Something like it should be x here. It should be x plus 1 here. Sorry. It should be x plus 1 here. So this should be x. Let me just write it again. Because 12 over x is greater than, it's like saying this one is greater than by 1. So the LCD is still the same, so I will multiply this by the LCD. So you have x times x plus 1, and I'll write it in black, then times the 12 over x minus our LCD again, x times x plus 1 times 12 over x plus 1 equals 1 times our LCD, which is x times x plus 1. So here by cancellation we have, by division we have x and x becomes, so this becomes 12 times x plus 1. Cancel out, we have minus 12x. Then we have x squared x times x plus 1. So here we have 12x plus 12 minus 12x equals x squared plus x. This becomes 0. So you're left with 12 equals x squared plus x. Let's rewrite this in ax squared plus bx plus c. We are left with 0 equals x squared plus x minus 12. You can use quadratic formula, of course, okay, to solve this because this is already quadratic equation. Okay, but I think this is factorable into x plus 4, okay, and x minus 3. So x becomes negative 4 and x equals positive 3. Okay, but which one satisfies this satisfies this equation? Okay, so I think both of them. Let's try number 3. Later on, guys, there is a need for us to substitute. Okay, let's skip for that one part first so that it won't complicate the solving. Number 3. Number 3, our LCD, no need to factor our denominators, meaning we need to find right away our LCD, which is x plus 2 and x minus 5. So we have multiply this by x plus 2, x minus 5, x plus 2, x minus 5 times 3 over x plus 2 plus our LCD again times, of course, our LCD again times 2 times, okay, by division this becomes cancelled out, so we have that one, so we have 3 times x minus 5, then we can cancel this by division, we can remove this, so we are left with x plus 2 x minus 1 equals 2 times x plus 2 x minus 5. So this one we can write as a 3x minus 15. Then this portion we can write this as x squared plus x minus 2. So if we're going to simplify that, that's x squared plus x minus 2. Then here we have 2 times, let's try to do that first. This one is x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay, we can combine the x squared first. Let's write x squared first, x squared. Then we can combine positive x and 3x, that gives us as 4x. We can combine negative 15 and negative 2, that's negative 17. Then we can distribute the 2. So from here, let's make it 0. So that's minus x, so that's minus x. Minus 4x, that's minus 4x. Plus 17, that's plus 17. So this becomes 0. So here, 2x squared and x, 2x squared and x squared, that's x squared actually, that gives us positive x squared. Then 6x and negative 4x, that gives us 10x. 20 and 20 plus 17, that gives us minus 3. Okay, that gives us minus 3. Okay, so we have here our quadratic equation. We have x squared minus 10x minus 3 equals 0. So we can use the quadratic formula since that is not factorable. So negative b plus minus, okay, then b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then we have negative 10 plus minus negative 10 squared minus 4ac all over 2 times 1. Okay, so negative 10 becomes positive 10 plus minus. This one gives us 112 112 all over 2. So we can split it now into 2. Okay, can split now into 2. The first one is x equals 10 plus square root of 112 all over 2, and that gives us the plus, because we have plus minus here. That is 10.29. And the other one is the negative 10 minus square root of 112 all over 2. That is negative 0.29. Negative 0.29. Okay, that's it. Number 4, we need to we need to factor x squared minus 2x plus 1. So we can factor that as 5 all over x minus 1 plus x. This becomes x minus 1, and x minus 1 equals 1. Okay, so what's the LCD? The LCD is take out 1 common, so that's x minus 1. Then there is still 1 remaining, so you copy that. Okay, that is our LCD. Then we multiply all our terms by the LCD. So we have x minus 1 times x minus 1 times the first term plus x minus 1. You can actually name it as x minus 1 square, but I want to write it as this so that everybody can follow. Okay, so by division, this becomes 1, this becomes 1. Okay, that's it. So let's try to distribute 5 and x minus 1. 5 and x minus 1. Then we have x only here. Then we have here x squared minus 2x plus 1. If you're going to distribute. Okay, we have here 5x minus 5 plus x equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. Okay, so you have 6x. So this one, that's 6x. So let's subtract negative 6x here, then negative 6x also here. Okay, this is positive 5, so let's plus 5. So let's plus 5 also here. So in turn, we will have a resulting equation of x squared minus 8x plus 6. Okay, that is our equation. So let's solve that using quadratic formula, because 6 is not this equation is not solvable using factorization. So x squared minus 8x, so we have x squared minus 8x plus 6 equals 0. Using the quadratic formula, we have negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times 2a. What is negative b? That's negative 8, so that becomes positive 8. And 6, then we have 2 all over 1. Oh, this is 8, not 2. Negative 8 squared minus 4a 1c is 6. So if we're going to do that, we have 8 plus minus square root of, that's 64 minus 24. 40 all over 2. Okay. This is the time that we split into x equals 8 plus square root of 40 all over 2 That gives us, so we're taking the plus first. We can I can actually take the minus first. So you have 8 plus square root of 40 all over 2. This gives us 7.16. And the other one is x equals the minus, the 8 minus square root of 40 all over 2. Then that is, I think that's still positive, 0.84. Okay, 0.84. Okay. Next, we need to factor this one. So that's x minus 2, x minus 3 equals 1. The factor is, the LCD is, we have common x minus 3 and we have a remaining of x minus 2. Okay. Then here guys, you can, let's try to do shortcut. Okay. If you're going to multiply this and this, the x minus 3 will be cancelled out by division. So you're left with 3 and x minus 2. So you write it 3x minus 2. This one, if you're going to multiply this one, all will be cancelled out. You are left with x plus 1. So write x plus 1. If you're going to multiply this by this, that's still the same. X minus 3, x minus 2. So you can do that kind of shortcut as long as you master already. So let's try to simplify further. 3x minus 6 plus x plus 1, and we have x squared minus 5x plus 6, because this is just that one when you just factor it. Okay, then let's try to simplify here. 3x and x, you'll have 4x, negative 6 and plus 1, you have minus 5 equals x squared, okay, minus 5x plus 6. Let's subtract 4x from both sides. Let's add 5 in both sides. Okay, so we are left with 0, negative 5 and 4, that's x squared minus 9x plus 11. This is the time that we solve it using any. So I will not continue anymore. Since we already arrived at x squared minus 9x plus 1, you can continue it using whatever methods do you like. So that's all.